Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Audra Carroll, and this is Coming in Hot, where my guest and myself mostly talk about mindset theories and real practical ways that you can improve your lifestyle, your health, your relationships, and yourself. And I'm back again with the lovely Mrs. Linda Duggan, Momma LInda.
Thank you.
Ma'am. And we have been, the last episode, we chatted about her advocacy with for cancer and all of the work that she's done at MD Anderson and all of the, I was going to say blood, sweat, and tears, I guess, but in a way that is what, really, that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
Everything that she has put into all this and in educating and helping anyone that is battling with cancer or with any type of chronic illness and things like that. So she is bringing a lot of what she has learned and her experience to us and sharing all of her knowledge. And I'm so excited to even dive in further. And so we left off at the very end of the last episode with you kind of getting to show off your book, your first book. So let's just start there. This is just number one. We got more coming.
Yes. You may show it to you?
Yes, please show us
again.
Okay,
here's my, isn't that pretty? It's so pretty.
It's beautiful. It's so bright and vibrant, all of the vegetables and stuff. I need to move this. On the picture, I love it.
Yes.
So well, you can tell me about the book or tell me how you started, like the process of writing, wherever you want to start at.
Well, really, I thought I was going to write a cookbook. I really did, because my therapy during, I call it my occupational therapy during cancer treatments, was my daughter's wedding. Mm-hmm. And I told her I want to make it from scratch, every single thing. I even made cookies that were shaped like sand dollars, that looked like sand dollars, and people were going, wow, these really look like sand dollars. And my husband was like, I can't believe you did all of this catering yourself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, maybe I ought to write a cookbook. And then I thought, wait. I have cancer and I'm planning a wedding. I'm not going to write a cookbook. So I started compiling things for a cookbook. And then I started to think, nobody knows me. And I have used my stories for 30 years to calm people down, to help people focus, to help them get through it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to tell my stories so that people would know me, so that then they can say, well, she really does know what she's talking about when it comes to what foods to eat. Mm-hmm. And honestly, to be frankly honest, there's no scientific evidence yet if there's any food that cures cancer.
Right.
There's definite proof there's foods that better feed cancers. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that's the American diet.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that in the last segment of the last episode too. Like, is there a certain, like, speaking of foods, are there a certain type of foods? I know, like, this is random, but for singing voices and stuff like that, my beautiful friend Amber taught me that when I'm having vocal issues, that the one thing I want to stay away from is anything white.
Yeah.
She's,
one thing for singing voices, one thing for singing voices would be to add lemon and honey into some warm tea.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that.
Even, like one thing I would do for my grandbabies, and I did for my kids, is I never buy a cough syrup. I get a gelatin, mm-hmm. and I put lemon and honey and that in a warm liquid and stir it up, and it just tastes better. It mm-hmm. coats the throat. Honey is a natural antiseptic, actually.
Yes, it's so good for our immune system if you can get local honey.
So if your throat is all raw, mm-hmm. if you just run some honey down. Now, I'm not advocating eating boatloads of honey because,
right.
There's common sense here. You don't want to overload on honey, but it's natural.
Now, the reason why we have this show, Miss Linda, there is a lack of common sense these days.
Unfortunately, sometimes I'm actually flabbergasted, with what people think and the lack of common sense, because
did your mama drop you on your head?
I try not to say that, but I kind of wonder,
I am.
They have to keep saying over and over again that we need to wash our hands. Come on now. Weren't we washing our hands before that? And if you weren't washing your hands, please don't tell.
I'm shaking my head because I know some of y'all was not washing your hands, you liars.
And here's the thing, you know, when
You're still
people
not
think about
washing your
washing
hands,
their hands,
probably.
get a little soap and get it under get it under the flow. That's not what they're talking about. These doctors are saying, you know, say your ABCs. That is 20 seconds. It takes you 20 seconds to say the ABCs. I doubt anybody can say it much faster than that.
Mm-hmm.
You get your hands wet, put soap, rub it really good, and then scrub your fingernails, because guess what's under here? If you cleaned your whole hands and you did not scrub your fingernails, you left all the dirt right there. And you're going to put them in your mouth.
We
You
are
know,
all
you know, they're saying do this, 20 minutes of this, then put your hands under the water. And you know what? You'd be surprised how many people do not do that. And I'm in the bathroom with a number of females who just don't. And I'm not their police.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even say, don't you think you need to go back there and wash your hands? But guess what I don't do? I don't shake those people's hands. You know why?
Right.
It is my right to just nod heads and smile.
Oh, you're not even giving the elbow. You're like, nope. Hi.
Because, you know, you got it. It's common sense. These are not hard things to do.
No, they're most definitely not.
It's not a hard thing to do, but it's just, are we so much more important than our clean hands? What we got to get to, is it that urgent that we're actually going to sabotage our whole body with dirty hands that we're putting in our mouth because we so urgently have to get to the next thing? It's 20 seconds. You still got 24 hours in a day.
I love you.
I'm floored sometimes. You said, I told you, you know, I'm not saying they were dropped on their head. I'm just saying that we're so busy being busy.
Yes.
That we don't
Busy
take time.
being
We don't take time to live.
busy. I agree.
You know, gotta live. You only get this day. You think you get tomorrow, but you get this day. Because I, honest to God, thought that little girl of mine was going to live to be an adult. And she got 1.5 years. And she was one happy baby. She was a totally happy, fun baby. But
that 1.5 years was good.
That was a good 1.5 years.
Man,
and she still makes me laugh 30 years later when I think of her antics.
I was about to say, and she's still showing up every day in your life.
Yes.
And, you know, you two are still so connected, you know, even like through that book. You know, you said you thought you were going to write a recipe book.
I did. I was sure I was going to write a recipe book, but
so how did that go then? You sat down and you started writing? And
well, like I said, my little girlfriend that does my personal training, Miss Houston 2014, said, there's so many stories in you, Miss Linda. You're going to write lots of books. And I just looked at her and I laughed. I said, no, I'm retired. I'm going to just have fun. And she goes, you love telling stories. There's so many stories in you, Miss Linda. She says, I just see all these books. And I got to thinking about just at least introducing myself in the cookbook. And then before I know it, I wrote 151 pages. And my husband, who thinks I talk a little too much, you know, I read him that story one night on the way to New Orleans when we were visiting family, and he said, Linda, that's not even how you talk. He said, that's so clinical and clean and to the point and informative and helpful. Because I even talk about people's mouths because people don't realize this and doctors don't tell you. Because they're so concerned with saving your lives that they forget to mention most every single cancer treatment has mouth consequences.
oh, wow.
And where do we put our food? In our sore mouths. And the thing is by the time you resolve the sores in your mouth from the previous treatment, a lot of times you get another hit. Because what's happening inside the mouth is the cells in the mouth grow so quickly that they're the closest probably to a cancer cell you have. The cells in the mouth are exactly what most cancer treatments have been designed to attack.
Wow, that is mind blowing. I did not know that.
I know, and no one knows it. No one even talks about it. But most of these patients are suffering in some way or another. And heaven forbid you get an abscess, and then you decide to pop it because you just want it gone. I talk in my book about 3 or 4 pages about what you can do to make your mouth feel better. And one of the biggest things you can do is if you know you're going to be getting cancer therapy, go talk to a dentist. Guess what? Most dentists know about this. And if you talk to a dentist who says you don't need to see them till next cleaning, when you're getting ready to go through some rough cancer treatments, that's the time to get another dentist who's more clued in to what's going on out there. That is not trying to harm this dentist. He's probably really good at regular dentistry, but if he doesn't know that cancer therapies harm mouths and people need their mouths to eat, you just kind of go find yourself one who's more current, more up on what's going on in the cancer world. And if that dentist says you don't need to come in a few times this year, find the dentist who wants to see you, who wants to help you get through this. Because there's washes. Simple thing like they can give you biotin or something else that's more potent that will help you not to have sores in your mouth. Or ice chips are take a tip from a baby. When babies are teething, they are miserable. And we give them something for their mouths. Why would we, when we're faced with our mortality, ignore the place we put our food?
Where we get all of our nutrients and everything that feeds all of the organs, all of the brains, and even
and it's there.
The cells that you're trying to, beef up to fight.
And if you can do some things that soothe, and you know what else people do when they can't eat anything?
What?
Look at ice cream and mashed potatoes. And you know what cancer loves?
Sugar. Starch.
Ice cream and mashed potatoes. That will give you the best cancer growth you have ever had.
My gosh.
It
was like a self-sabotage in a way that you don't even know you could be
don't even know
sabotaging yourself.
They're just like, my mouth is so sore, this mashed potatoes taste good. And the cancer cells are going, yes.
Yeah, you're feeding me. Yummy, yummy.
Cancer cells need a lot of energy. And your best source of energy is a carbohydrate. That is why when an athlete, a prime athlete, is ready to get out on the field and win the gold medal, they carbo load.
Yeah.
So do cancer cells. Cancer cells carbo load.
Wow.
And if you don't learn a different way to eat and you decide, I don't feel good today and I'm going to subside on mashed potatoes and ice cream, then good luck. I've got to get a message out to the world because people don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they really do truly understand how important nutrition is, especially when you're dealing with chronic diseases and with cancer and things like that. I know with my own health issues, not of that magnitude at all, but I definitely have issues and have had issues with eating certain types of food would feed the inflammation and stuff like that. And a lot of what was going on in my body was, inflammatory. And I feel like I'm just now starting to understand how many things I'm eating that cause that inflammatory reaction to occur inside my body. And I don't want to always be chasing my body, down to try to undo something that I could have very easily never done to begin with.
Another thing cancer patients need to know is almost every type of treatment breaks down the body. It's killing cells. And you absolutely have to have protein to build a cell. You don't need sugar to build a cell, but you desperately need protein. So when I was going through radiation, I was telling the doctor, this is just like a light you're shining on me. Why on earth am I so exhausted?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm so grateful I wasn't doing chemotherapy at the time. I wasn't throwing up.
Right.
I didn't look like a concentration camp victim, you know. But that's another thing is you won't believe this, but there are plenty of cancer patients who are eating just fine. They're eating everything they're supposed to eat, but the cancer cells are hijacking their food and they're getting no nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that the cancer does to carbohydrates in specific
Mm-hmm.
that make them undigestible to a human being. But man, can cancer grow if they get the right carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have any carbs because that's ridiculous.
Just
And
more
we
of a
got,
balance, which,
yeah,
and I guess it's shifting in the
that
balance.
healthy balance.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that, yes, eat your vegetables. Come on. Nobody was joking around with you when you were a kid saying vegetables are good for you. They were serious. They're good for you. My husband was so amazing. He built me a totally organic, with organic mud. I only asked for herbs. I asked for a little herb garden. I have a garden that's the full length of my backyard.
Oh.
It goes around the corner, you know, that is full of great organic. I've never had a piece of poison in there. And anything I get out of there has been grown with love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm enjoying. I mean, he did it for Valentine's Day, which was my 5-year anniversary, cancer free.
Oh, he went out with a bang too.
Totally. I mean, all this year for Valentine's Day, the man gave me a present probably every single day of the month. I mean, all the neighbors' wives, sorry, you just don't have this man, you know. But he was out there making me this beautiful, beautiful, amazing garden where I don't have to kneel down. It's waist high. So I just go out there and cut my garden. You know, I cut off my lettuce. I cut out my onion tops. I've dehydrated onions. And it's crazy. I've been handing out jars, mason jars full of good stuff, you know, and I love it. I love it. This is a whole new avenue for me to enjoy because I like to go there and train my cucumbers to grow up the. He's got the fence to grow up.
Yeah.
And I'm up there going, they made it to the top. I've got one little cucumber that's got its little arm. There's those little grabber arms are way up there. It finally made it to the top, and it's going to grow over the top. He made a pergola for the garden.
Oh,
The
beautiful.
man is amazing.
Oh, he sounds like I may have to borrow him for a second. I could use a pergola.
It was great. I mean, he was out there. He got pallet lumber, took it apart. He had his own rock quarry out there because it's like I have no grass to step on. I have flagstones and crushed granite. I mean, this thing is fancy, but he did it on the cheap because that's one of the things we know how to do.
Frugal. I love that too. I'm all about that life.
Yeah, somebody gave him 2 truckloads of crushed granite because they had ordered too much.
Oh my gosh.
Go get it. I'm like,
See,
yes.
I would have been like, won't he do it? On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Miss Momma LInda.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm Audra, the host of Coming in Hot on Astronet Radio. Don't worry if you missed the first part of the show. You can always catch a replay right here or an encore presentation at astronetradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe because you don't want to miss a thing. Hey guys, welcome back to Coming in Hot, talking with Miss Momma LInda again. And we were talking a lot about the proper foods to eat when you are dealing with cancer and cancer treatments and the toll it can take on the body and on the mind. And so we've kind of bounced back and forth between a couple of different topics and with the nutrition and stuff. And so, you know, you say there's certain foods you definitely want to stay away from and certain things like that. Now, you kind of mentioned earlier about certain foods you want to, that you want to maybe gravitate to.
Yes.
And we were talking some off camera. Now, I was going to ask you if you would maybe elaborate on how maybe some of the foods that you do want to gravitate to, maybe what some of those are, and then also like maybe what that does in the body.
Okay, we can work on it.
Yeah.
Now I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a medical professional, but I have been in touch with nutritionists, and I've actually run my cookbook past them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
a
even
lot of
just small
people
little
are,
things like we were talking about blueberries off camera, just like
yeah,
people, just something most people may
yes,
not
there
even
are,
realize how much is in
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of sugar in most fruits,
Mm-hmm.
but the low glycemic fruit are blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, lemons, and limes, and they are so good for you.
Mm-hmm.
You really, and the way I look at fruit, it's a morning food
Mm-hmm.
because it's still got sugar, and your body has going to either do one or two things with the sugar. It's going to use it or store it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you put that sugar of those low glycemic fruits in your body early in the morning, it gives you all the energy you need to get your day really started well. And some other great things like antioxidants, like vitamin C. You'd be surprised what has vitamin C in it, because strawberries are high in vitamin C.
Oh yeah.
And blueberries are an incredible fruit. I can't. I eat them every day for breakfast.
Are they considered like a superfruit,
blueberries.
which I don't know, or a superfood or something? I think they are, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, blueberries and raspberries and strawberries are all seriously good for you. Just seriously good for you. You can't. I mean, I think since people gravitate toward fruit, if you'll eliminate the higher sugar ones, an orange is okay every once in a while. I'm not trying to downplay citrus at all, but if you're a cancer patient and you're trying to eliminate as much of the carbs in your body, as much of the sugars in your body, and you love fruit, then you should investigate the low glycemic fruits
Mm-hmm.
because they're delicious. People love blueberries in their pancakes, which I would caution on the pancakes. But there is a pancake that's a high protein pancake, and I highly recommend it. It's really low in carbs and very high in protein, and that's what a cancer patient needs. There's probably other brands, but I use a Kodiak pancake mix,
Mm-hmm.
and that's called a Lumberjack Pancake.
Mm-hmm.
And they originally made it with lumberjacks in mind because it's a high protein pancake.
Oh wow.
So if you take this one of my recipes, I'll just feed it out, is I take, like a half a cup of the pancake mix,
Mm-hmm.
a half a cup of applesauce, but only in the morning because I guess that's a real high sugar thing,
Mm-hmm.
and a half a cup of egg whites. And that's my pancake mix.
Oh, wow.
You've got a protein mix to begin
Mm-hmm.
with the whites of the eggs. The egg whites is another protein.
Mm-hmm.
And then the blueberries just make it sweet. I mean, not the blueberries, take it back. The applesauce just makes it sweet, but I said a half a cup, I'd go a quarter cup. But anyway, when you do that in your pancake mix, it is absolutely delicious and very low in carbs.
Mm-hmm. That's a good tip right there too. I
And
think my mom
blueberries on
used to make
top
a
of that.
cake with applesauce in it. It seems like.
Yeah, applesauce can replace most oils, and most oils are rough on you. So I usually will replace almost any oil in a recipe that really calls for oil with an applesauce.
That's a really, really good tip.
Equal amounts, because applesauce replaces it.
So,
but like I said, I'm cautious on the applesauce and don't want to just pile applesauce in your day,
right,
because it's high in sugar.
Yes, yeah, and a lot of people.
Sugar than white sugar.
Right, exactly. It's better, but I think a lot of people, there's a misconception too that if you're eating fruit, as long as you're eating fruit,
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay. You can eat it in massive amounts and this and that, and that's so not true, because like you said, your body's going to do one of two things with that.
Yes, and another thing is, so is the cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're trying to fight something,
if you're trying to fight something, don't feed it.
Mm-hmm. Look at us. We're becoming one, Miss Linda.
Exactly.
I told you.
If you're fighting, if you're fighting it, why would you feed it its favorite food?
Mm-hmm.
At least stick it in a corner and make it have to fight you.
There you go. And so you were naming off the applesauce alternative. How long into your journey when you started really messing with your nutrition, and is that something that you immediately started focusing on, or is that something that came later on with
I
it?
think right in the beginning, I realized there were so many behaviors I needed to focus on that nutrition wasn't my biggest thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I was aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to God, I think the biggest thing is get the right amount of rest. And that's the hardest thing when you're scared, when you're uncomfortable and hurting,
Mm-hmm.
or your family's worried and you're worried and you don't get the right amount of rest. Nothing else you're going to do is going to help you.
Mm-hmm. Now, side note, could you maybe give any tips or anything that
Yeah,
you did that helped you get
yeah,
rest and stuff? Yeah.
yeah. Because like I had to sleep during the day because I was so tired. And so what I would do is I would come home, I would do one small fun project,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would get a nap. And I couldn't possibly really nap. I never used to be able to nap during the day. So I got myself a light blocking mask. I got myself music that was soothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I put myself in a room alone and do everything I could to relax, clear my mind. One of the cool things was the Dr. Cohen gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
I had looked for, because he's a behavioral scientist at MD Anderson, I had talked to him on multiple occasions about behavior and how it affected cancer patients. I asked to be enrolled in a study, if they had any, and they happened to have a study I qualified for, and my study actually got in his book, the study I was on. It was a relaxation study. So,
Really? That's
yes.
fascinating.
So, there were many arms of possible relaxations, and I got yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have family. Like I told you, there's people that want to tell you some stuff that's a little crazy, and you just have to look at them and smile and go, okay, you're doing that out of love, and I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
They decided that I was getting into a foreign religion.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh
And I
no.
do that because it was going to warp my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, yoga does not do that. Because there was this one exercise, okay, and this was the one that I had a family member, and God bless her, and I love her, and I helped her to see the light. The meditation would tell you to relax, and it would give you all these breathings and exercises, joint loosening exercises and stuff to just totally relax. And then it would encourage you to meditate and send your mind out into the great blue sky. Okay. So,
I'm digging it, but I can already tell this is not going the way I would. This is
so
probably
they're
going
like,
left.
you can't send your mind out into the great blue sky because, you might find like the devil there. And I'm like, okay, my God made the great blue sky.
Mm-hmm.
I know this beyond any shadow of doubt. So I did not send my mind to the devil. I found God in the great blue sky because I was praying.
Mm-hmm.
What I sang to myself when I did this meditation was simple songs, about how God loved me.
Mm-hmm. Positivity.
Positivity about, I knew that this was good for me and that this was helping me, and I was learning how to relax. And so I had a friend, well, we had become friends in the waiting room, who was concerned about that. She says, I'm a Christian, and yoga is a different religion. And no, some of the people who teach yoga have a different religion. Yoga is not their religion.
Right.
Okay. And so I said, who are you going to find in the great blue sky?
Mm-hmm.
Who made the great blue sky? She's, oh, you're right. And I'm thinking, this was not rocket science.
Right? It's,
Right.
people are so
People are
scared of so
so
many
scared
things
of
they
anything
don't know.
different. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just said, I am not studying a foreign religion. I am learning how to relax. I mean, they have
Mhm.
fabulous Eastern breathing techniques.
Oh, yes,
I
absolutely.
I still to this day, before I get out of bed, I do every one of those joint loosening exercises because you know what? I just say hello to these fingers. I say hello to these wrists. I say hello to my elbows, my all my joints. Before I get on the floor, I want to know they're all working really well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this fabulous teacher who happened to be a different religion, who did not impose her religion on me or her beliefs, who taught me how to relax.
Mm-hmm. And that's the most important thing about
Awesome.
meditation and things like that. I was also introduced to meditation through yoga. I was taking a yoga class. I had to take.
And did you find that there was a different God you were worshiping all of a sudden?
No, now that didn't come up for me, but yeah, no, absolutely not. Now I can tell you that it was definitely odd at first. I thought it was a little weird and this and that because I was inside my head. I was more concerned
Mhm,
about what everybody else was doing or what they were looking at or how they were doing it instead of
mhm.
being focused on what I was supposed to be there for, which was my own mindset and trying to find myself. And I think that's
Yeah,
the one thing that I learned through meditation with the yoga was I learned how to connect with myself.
right.
And then fast forward to 6, 7 years later or so, now meditation has come out in a different type of way. And now I can do body scans are one of my absolute favorites just because I am so high strung and my mind is doing 10,000 things.
Mhm.
For me to be able to lay still and to be able to feel the oxygen, and people don't think they can
Right,
do it, but you can. It's really just about practice. I've now gotten to the point where I can sit there and I can actually feel the oxygen
right.
as I'm
And
breathing
you
go
know
through my
what you can
body.
do? You know this because you've done this.
Mm-hmm.
Is the air coming in is cold,
Mm-hmm.
but the air going out is warm.
Mm-hmm. And we miss out
And,
on
to,
so
and
many
we and we
things.
don't even know that. And I bet you 15 people that listen to us are going to breathe it in and try to breathe it out and try to see if we're right. But it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take the time to breathe in, well, mindfully, because
Yeah.
that's your thing. Breathe in mindfully, knowing cool air is coming into your nostrils, but warm air is blowing out. How did that happen that fast?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you start thinking, and when you start thinking this and being so aware, you relax.
Yeah. I think it takes just
No way not.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. People get so upset because they can't do it right off the bat. You're not supposed to be, honestly. I really don't think, I don't know anybody that's ever gone into yoga and been able to do it the first time or meditate and be able to
Uh-huh.
relax in a meditation at all.
And they eventually were videotaping me, and I was just like, she's like, man, you know how to relax. And I'm going, no, I didn't really know.
Mm-hmm. But
And
you
I'm really
practice.
grateful that this study existed and that I qualified for it. And they would actually do pre-tests
Mm-hmm.
and post-tests on me, fairly regularly, and found out I was a relaxing queen. I was getting this relaxing thing down, and
Yes.
I won't let that go.
Oh,
I
I could not imagine. I'm sure that the transformation was
Yes.
it did it. Well, let me ask you this, and then we'll have to go to break because I'm always running late. But as my mama says, but anyway, she's gonna watch this later and be like, "Girl, shut up." But exactly, yeah. Now that I've already flubbed up that little segment, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
They'll never know what was going on, but we will. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I know things are boring right now at this quarantine and so many things that we can't do, but there's one thing I know you can do. You can check out my show, Coming in Hot, where my guest and myself talk about mindset theories and real practical ways that you can improve your relationships, your lifestyle, health, and yourself. So we go live on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Then there's 2 encore presentations, Saturday nights at 7 p.m. and Sunday nights at 5 at astronetradio.com, so don't miss it. So welcome back. We are definitely coming in hot. I'm not even going to pretend. So we have been having some fabulous conversation off camera, and some of it off topic and some of it not, but it's been fantastic. And I've thoroughly enjoyed you coming and enlightening me with your wisdom. Like you said, you've got a lot of knowledge from a lot of the experiences that you've been through. And, you know, it doesn't mean anything until you turn it into wisdom. And I
Right.
appreciate you bestowing your wisdom upon us so that we can also take that knowledge that you're giving us and turn it into wisdom later on. So we were kind of really, don't get me to laugh at it, because you know.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. Sometimes you just crack me down.
Sorry. Oh, hot mess.
Oh, you're
So
so
we were
sweet.
talking a lot about food and nutrition and how that helps fuel the body. You know, we've talked about mindset, and we've talked about so many different topics here, because there's just a lot of, honestly, a lot of fascinating facets to your life. And, you know, you've already written one book, and you said, you know, you started out, you know, to write recipes, and that got turned, you know, right around on its head. And I see why, because, you know, like you said, you may not have known that was the path you were headed down, but other people knew that. And I can also, like, I see how they were seeing that even back then, you know. So anyway, so back to your book.
Yes.
Let's go back to that book for a second. So in that book, can you kind of give us an idea of what all you put in that one right there?
Wow. Yeah. It's only my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
It's only after my daughter's passing. So I don't really, even in the book, talk that story.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's talked about. It is in the book, but it's more of what it became because of it. Does that more make sense?
Yes, exactly.
What it became because of it. What the Lord changed in me to make me not miserable to be around. You know, and I did, you know, this is the thing you can do for somebody who's lost somebody. Let them talk about the person. Just because it makes you sad doesn't mean they don't think about the person. I talked about her.
Mm-hmm.
And people would mention her, and then they'd be like, oh, I didn't mean to mention her. I've never forgotten I had a baby that died.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're close enough to that person, tell them the funny things you remember, because they want to remember beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to do so many amazing things that it just floored me. I mean, who would have thought a 25-year-old kid who didn't have hardly any skills would be taught all the skills she needed, because the real thing they hired was my heart.
I was about to say, the asset they were gaining when they hired you, you know.
They realized that I was passionate and that I would do anything
Mm-hmm.
to help. And those things were the real asset. The skills can be learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to learn so many cool skills, because back then there wasn't a Microsoft Office. There was all different kinds of software. So I had to learn them all, because we didn't know what a doctor would be bringing in if he was going to be preparing a presentation. We had to have all of those.
Mm-hmm.
And learning all of those made me much better at Microsoft Office. Like all my drawing I do, like a lot of artists have apples.
Mm-hmm.
And because Apple developed art better, sorry Microsoft, but it's true, than Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
But I can draw in PowerPoint just as well as if I had all those great tools that the artists have, because I'm blessed to be a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what I've drawn over the years has ended up in people's textbooks, ended up in people's college books in China. But anyway, I talked to my dad,
Mm-hmm.
because I lost him when I was at MD Anderson. I lost him to melanoma, and then I went to become a melanoma warrior. And I talk about being a melanoma warrior. I didn't even know how I was going to get to be. But we hired this amazing immunologist from the National Institutes of Health. When I heard about him, I was like, okay, there's my next job. I was working for neurosurgery. My daughter had died of a brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
I put in several years. And I tried to help them develop as many things as I could, and I think I did a pretty good job. And they liked me. You know, I got raises, I got promotions. So when I went to him, I brought a portfolio, and he's like, "How many secretaries bring in a portfolio?" So he starts going through it. He goes, "You can't do this. Secretaries don't do that. Really, did you do this?" And I looked at him and I smiled and I said, "You want to know if I can do it?" He's like, "Yeah." So I said, "We have to trade sheets." He said, "What?" I said, "We have to trade seats." He's like, "What?" This cheeky, 30-something is saying, "I'd like your chair now."
Right.
Right.
I bet his eyes were huge.
Oh, they were huge. From what I understand, when he interviewed people, they were in and out in 15 minutes. We were in there 2 hours. I started teaching him how to burst a metafile, how to change the color on a cartoon. Like I said, "You like that guy's hair black?" He's like, "What?" I said, "Oh, let's make it red. Now let's make it yellow." And he's like, "You didn't even draw that. How are you taking that apart?" But I had these skills that I had developed with all those other softwares. That I understood things that I shouldn't understand. And he was just sitting there going, "Okay, well, how'd you do this in the book? And how did you do that in your portfolio?" And we just had class, and we became friends. And he's still a very dear friend. And I've total respect for him, so I've never tried to talk down to somebody who's a super genius. But I wanted his chair that day because he was asking me, "How did you do this? You couldn't possibly do this." And the fact that I was that cheeky and I would ask for his chair
got his attention.
got me the job, got his attention, and he hasn't wanted me to leave. I totally reworked all the slides he had ever done at the National Institutes of Health, and I kind of put a Linda stamp on it. And I just, any meeting that they had, I would design a specific data collection sheet for that particular meeting. And people all over the institution would be going, "That type of meeting really should have this data collection sheet." Or I'd build the database, or I'd talk to a patient. And if a patient came and they were bringing us slides, I'd say, "You are not coming up here and you're not parking." And what I would do in a day when I worked there, and this is like my story in the book, is they couldn't be a number. And they couldn't be inconvenienced. They were going through too much. So I tried to teach others, and I taught myself, meet that car. Get those MRIs and take good care of them and don't lose them so that they can get them back to where they had to have them. And get them to the right pathologist. So, if you hand that to me, I will take care of you. I will make sure you never think you're a number. Ever. I taught the other girls, I said, all this technical stuff, it's important and we have to do it and we got to accomplish it, but we need to remember how much suffering these people are going through. And always make them feel like they're the most important person right then. The place I worked, I didn't want to put them on hold. I didn't want to say, "Please hold, please hold, please hold, please hold." I don't want to put them on hold. I'd rather not answer the phone than put somebody on hold, but I'd answer it before the third ring. Always. I got trained that way. I also got trained by when I worked for the vice president of research. If you can't say it in one page, nobody's going
to. That's valuable information right there.
And that's what, my husband, because I could talk. You can see I can talk. But like I said before, with the book, he said, it's just chock full of practical information, Linda, and it's not like you talk. It's almost an instruction guide to how you survived. And I said, that's exactly what it needs to be, because those instruction guides don't exist out there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody told me what I was getting ready to go through. Just like you didn't know about the mouth consequences.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things that happen on the way to getting to a cure that I just want people to know about. And I want them to know I've seen cancer from so many venues. I've been the daughter. I've been the mother. I've been the cancer patient. I've talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years, and I never once wanted one of them to think I didn't care. And
Wow.
it's complicated, but it's the beauty that my life became out of the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my book might have been Beauty from Ashes, but I like life recipes.
Yeah.
Recipes for living.
I like that too. In fact, throw that book up there and show them. Show them.
Okay, this is it.
Yes. So this is what you have available right now?
Yes, this is the one that it actually just arrived. It's just now out on Amazon.
So
And you can get it at Amazon by the title, or looking up Linda Duggan or Momma LInda's Life Recipes. Or you can go to www.mommalindas.com. But remember the S and don't put the apostrophe, because, Facebook and websites don't do that well.
No, they want you to be like on.
Or on Facebook, I'm Momma LInda's with the apostrophe Life Recipes. I just think you can have a better recipe for living.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to just share that.
Well, that leads me to my final question. I was going to ask you if there is one thing that you want everybody to take away. If you could pick one. And I know that's going to be hard. Because there's so many facets.
Nobody caused cancer. Nobody should blame anybody for cancer. And it's devastating. And I've had other conditions, like I have idiopathic anaphylaxis, which means I'm allergic to every single thing on the planet. Mm-hmm. I know trauma, but trauma does not own me. Trauma won't take me. Mm-hmm. Cancer couldn't. And my allergist people say, that's probably how I'll die. But while I'm living, I want to live good. Mm-mm. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage every single one of you. Find joy. There's something to be happy about today. There's something to enjoy today. And I wish I had known when I was an atheist how good my God was. Mm-hmm. Because he helped me through every single moment of the misery that should have been my life, because according to everybody, I should have been miserable. Mm-hmm. But I smiled at every yoga class. I smiled at every doctor, and they were like, why are you so happy? It has to hurt. I'm like, you're getting me to the better. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get better. This isn't going to take me. And you can get better, just the better in a day. You don't have to get to the ultimate better. Because unfortunately, let's just face it, 1 out of 1 dies. Mm-hmm. The only great odds we have, the only absolutely secure odds, is we're not getting out of this life alive. Mm-hmm. So, while you're living it, just live with all the joy you can. Enjoy it. Is that okay?
That was absolutely beautiful.
You grabbed me down, sweetheart.
No, oh my gosh. No, I mean, that I don't even know what else to say. That's exactly the purpose of the show. I want people to hear everyone else's story, and everybody can relate to something that someone else has been through. Like you said in the first episode, and when we did this one, everybody knows somebody that's been touched by this in one way or another.
Yes.
And when we can learn to come together, and we're all touched by life just in general,
Yes.
the ups and downs. But when we can learn how to find those happy moments, and we learn to focus on those, it's amazing how quickly the world before you starts to open up, and how quickly you can find peace. Everyone seems to be searching for peace and they don't know how to find it. And baby, it's inside. It's all
Right.
in there.
It's so funny because that's what my husband said.
Oh, really?
when he did my little write up, because I've got lots, like I've got doctors who wrote up on me, but I wanted my husband to write up on me, and he says, Linda just brings the peace.
Yeah,
She seems to know. Seems to know what peace the people need, and she doesn't judge them. She doesn't get aggravated with them. If they hurt her, she just looks at him and goes, "Aw, something must have really gone wrong with you today." You know?
I'm telling you, if we could all just be a little bit more like you.
But you know, you just want to bring a peace. You know, maybe I should have been a hippie too.
I'm telling you, I keep telling my mom, I don't know where you got this
I was born too late.
No, it's never
I just
too
missed
late.
it. I just missed it.
No, never too late. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so very much for gracing me with your presence again, and for letting us, take a look into, your mindset and everything that you have accomplished. And one last thing, I know you have another book coming. We cannot forget that.
Yes, I'm writing a cookbook, but it's not out yet.
Right.
I ran it past a nutritionist, and she gave me some great ideas, so I need to add it. I thought it was done, but I got a few months to work on it, and then it'll be out.
Well, look at that. Won't he provide?
Oh, yeah.
He does when you least expect it.
It's amazing. It's a good book. It's a good cookbook. And what I call it is a grab and go cookbook, so that cancer patients don't have to think about food. Everybody gets together. She can either she can either hand you a recipe and say, would you make me this? So you don't have to guess. Or you can all get together as a family. Children can cut up vegetables or pick a recipe, because children want to be involved in the cancer process too.
Yeah.
But there's so little we let them do, and sometimes we push them to the side, and then we're causing them some mental trauma they never needed to have.
That is so
So
true.
you can give them my recipes.
Yeah.
And say, hey, you can pick a recipe, or would you like to chop up some celery? It depends on how old they are, of course.
Yeah.
But some of these are easy to put together. They can put something together, and everybody can do it as a family or as a friend. And then the cancer patients don't have to worry about this food.
Well, good. Then when you get that one released, we are definitely going to come back and reconvene, and I'm going to have
Thank you, Audra.
Thank you so very much.
Oh, I do one every Monday. There's a free one every Monday on my website.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Can you plug the website one more time?
www.mommalindas.com.
That is perfect. Thank you so
But
very much.
every Monday, brand new free recipe. Oh gosh, is this Monday?
This is Monday.
I gotta do a recipe.
You go run and do that. I'm gonna go and run and do some errands myself, and I will see all of you guys later.
Okay, God bless you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.